Right. Hello. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, I'm driving home. I'll be home in like 2 minutes. I'll switch to my computer.
That's fine.
Just get there in one piece.
Yeah, drive. It's foggy out there. Be careful.
Crappy out there.
It's crazy foggy, especially at my house, which I can't see right now, even though I'm really home.
Is Larry going to join us?
Not sure.
Yeah.
When he called
Maybe.
me earlier today, he was down with bronchitis.
Oh, poor guy.
That's why
Jeez.
he wanted a remote meeting
Yeah,
today.
boy, that is no fun.
No, it's not.
Bronchitis is nasty. I'm gonna, yeah.
Hi, Larry. Carolyn's going to be on audio until she gets home, and
I just got my sound on, so okay.
Carolyn is currently on audio only. She's on her phone until she can get her computer home. Until she gets home and can get on her computer.
Okay.
Basically. She's driving home now. So. I think probably I'm going to.
Does anybody know, like my camera is on my screen, which is I can't touch, so I have a large view of my house. Is there any way to focus, like Lynn is closer or you're closer? Is it just a matter of you have to do what you're doing, like fade the background, or
You can.
she's home.
If you
Hello.
If you click on the little upward arrow, the caret, and look at choose virtual background, you can tell it to blur. Yeah.
Yeah, I just blurred it. Yeah.
There you go. The only way to get it closer, unless you've got an expensive camera, is to move it closer.
Yeah, move it closer.
Some of the more expensive ones that you buy, which are not built into the computer,
separate ones.
Zoom in, but typically they don't do that. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi.
Glad you got home safe.
Yeah. Can I start with just asking if there's another meeting time that we can do, because my schedule changed since we set this up. Larry, you work every evening till 5?
Usually Thursday, not Thursday's the only night I don't teach. That one time that we made the class, we moved it. Then the other Aikido teacher changed her class with mine and put me on Thursday night. That's why. Otherwise, Thursdays are okay anytime. It doesn't have to be 5:15 for me.
What about people's earlier times? Is there like Thursdays?
I can certainly do earlier on Thursdays. Thursday's always tight for me because I have to be out of the house at 6:30.
So early is all right with me too, as far as that goes.
What time are you saying would work?
Anytime, because those of you who are still working and picking up kids and whatnot have more, more time crunches. I'm pretty free all afternoon, so if you wanted to start at 4 or 4:30 or something like, I'm fine.
I can't start at 4 or 4:30, but I could start at 2 or 2:30. No, not 2:30. Even that's too late. No, I could do 2 o'clock.
I can do 2 o'clock.
Me too.
Ronnie?
It varies. typically on this Thursday, I've got a TCOG meeting. In fact, I think I've got a TCOG meeting at this time, at this date, or day of the month. It's starting at 3 o'clock.
Ah, and then you also have the village board lunch meeting on Thursday, once a month, though, right?
Yeah, the staff meeting.
Right, and
What about-
that rarely falls at the same time as this meeting, but I suppose it could.
What about 1:30? And we could, Ronnie and I could just
Is there-
stay if there's a staff meeting?
Yeah, we would just not meet that. I doubt that we would have it this late, but it's always a possibility that they bump each other.
Well, if you all want to pick another time, I'm really free the whole afternoon, so it's up to you with many more meeting commitments. Larry, do you teach in the afternoon? Is that?
No,
Oh,
always
you
in,
don't?
yeah.
Yeah. I have other days that I'm usually free in the afternoon up to a point. But you just need to let me know what looks good for all of you, and I'll see how that fits.
Ronnie, would you be willing to do 1:30? The last
Yeah,
day of the month?
I think that would work okay.
Last day of the month.
The last Thursday of the month at 1:30? So that would be the 29th next month.
Let's see, 4th.
Yep. The main thing for us is that kitchen theater's on Thursday and it's evening, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, mine is
We'll
too,
keep that
right?
day, so we always get season tickets for that day. So afternoon should work for me.
So are we still meeting quarterly, or are we meeting every month?
Well, right now we've got some projects going on, so I think we're going to meet monthly for a while,
Okay,
until we work through, at least through this sidewalk policy.
the grant, okay.
And in this discussion, there might be some other topics that come up that cause us to meet longer for a month. It's been on a quarterly basis since we released our last Greenway update,
Yeah.
Greenway plan update. So
And so what's the new time that we're talking about, 1:30?
1:30, the last Thursday of the month.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in for February. Unless that changes, just let me know.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And I will change all of the Zoom meetings and so that they reflect, it'll be the same Zoom link, but it will be able to start earlier at 1:30.
sure.
Great.
And next month, the last Thursday is the leap year day.
Leap
So
day.
Oh yeah,
it's an
29.
extra,
I see that.
yeah, it's a leap day.
What do you want to start with, Ronnie, tonight? You want to start with beautification? It's the easier topic.
Yeah, we
Or
can do that.
sidewalks.
Basically, we have the ability to go for a beautification grant.
Oh, right.
Uh,
With cooperative extension.
Yes.
Is that a tourism grant? Is that from tourism money?
I'm not really sure where it comes from. Hang on a second. I will share my screen and we will look at it together.
Yeah. I actually sing with the director of that program, Janine Willis. We're in the same group together.
Okay, so basically, I will make this larger. I just
Whoa.
having to rearrange some things on my desktop. Sorry.
All right.
Nice little notification windows are popping up everywhere, and I will.
It is. It says county tourism program, funded by the county tourism program.
Yeah. So basically, this is the original document I sent you. I started filling it out just to see if they had created a form out of it. So it is a form, and we basically, as a municipality, would front the money, and then we would be reimbursed for that money. So the deadline for this
It's the end of the month,
end of this month.
Whew.
Or
so we have to put it in.
Had we talked about what we were going to do with it yet? I thought that
No.
hadn't been decided yet.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's not for wages, it's salary. So we would have our own DPW do it, or
not
volunteers.
necessarily.
or volunteers.
Volunteers.
volunteers normally, or if we needed some special work done that
Mhm.
volunteers could not do or would not do, then we would contract, like we would contract with Cayuga Landscape, for
Right.
instance.
I mean, why don't we just submit our normal beautification that we do to the building?
Right.
Could I make a suggestion
Yes.
for something? We've talked about, I don't know if I've been in the loop all the time about this, but things that we could do to improve the look of Marion Hartill Park and Ned Hickey Park. And I've always thought that one of the best bangs for the buck is to put in naturalize a bunch of daffodils. The deer don't eat them. They come back year after year. Eventually they get mowed, but either we naturalize them or plant them in beds so that they can actually grow there and reproduce. And they do, they double and triple and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be a great sort of volunteer. If we plant a couple of hundred bulbs in a nice area, it would be lovely in the spring. We don't have much planting of any kind, I don't think, in Marion Hartill. We've just kept the native trees that were there, but I don't think we've added much, have we?
We've added 3 trees this year, and there might be a possibility for some more being added this next year.
Yeah, trees are nice, but gardens are pretty, and
Yeah.
trees take a long time to do anything. If
Right.
they're flowering, are they native trees or are they not? Or are they flowering trees?
They're crab apples. I can't remember.
Oh, well, so they'll be flowering trees.
They will be
they'll be
flowering
pretty.
trees.
They'll be pretty. But I mean, there's nothing like bulbs in the spring. They're just so
Right.
cheery, and they're not that hard to plant.
Yeah.
And that's something volunteers could do.
Yeah,
I would
without making big errors.
Right.
At the Ithaca Children's Garden, they had that weird, that special mowing / bulb planting truck that like went down the road
Oh yeah,
and planted like thousands of bulbs.
that was that huge thing they did all along.
Yeah, which looks
Connect
fantastic. I wonder if we could use that truck rather than
ourselves.
The
have to
problem
plant
would be
them.
driving the truck into the park.
You'd have to drive it into
itself.
the park. I think the thing to do is to go and look in the park and see where we'd want to do
Yeah,
something.
we would have
like
to
that, 'cause
determine
we
how
haven't-
much and how many. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to create a bed probably, some kind of site prep so that, for one thing, you don't want to mow after they're done blooming. You don't want to mow their leaves. The leaves are the way that they make energy and food for the next year's blooming. And people make the mistake of mowing all the leaves because they don't like the way they look. But if we have bulbs, we should just let them die back naturally so that we get flowers the next year. Anyway, I'm just suggesting bulbs, a couple hundred bulbs would not be out of the realm of possibility for us to get in the ground. And at Ned Hickey Park, maybe around near a picnic table, or is there ever going to be a pavilion of any kind, like
There is
shade?
there.
I
it's
hesitate
already
to do
there.
something that would involve volunteer planting.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
why I like the
there's
truck idea.
Plenty of space there on the old right of way. It's not really a part of the park where they could. What is this bulb truck? Does it cultivate and plant all at once?
I remember reading an article about it. I'm going to Google something right now if I can see if I can find it. It was some professor invented it.
Oh my gosh! So it probably plugs holes in the ground.
Yeah,
and
probably.
pops the bulb in.
But you've been through, right? You've seen the Cass Park.
Yeah, I've
loop
seen the
with
flowers.
all the flowers.
Yeah.
There was an article about it.
Yeah.
50,000 daffodil bulbs. Oh, here's a picture of it.
And they're beautiful. I've seen them blooming, and they're really gorgeous. Again, I think we just need to look at the parks to see where we would want to do something like that. I'm happy to go walk around with someone and to see where we might want to do it. That's just my thought. When I heard about the beautification grant, I immediately thought bulbs because there's such a good return on the investment, and they don't need any care feeding.
So listen to this. This is with the help of Professor Bill Miller's Dutch bulb planting machine, Ithaca Children's Garden planted 50,000 bulbs along the Cayuga Waterfront Trail.
Hmm.
Can you share your
So
screen?
if you look at the thing, it's not a huge giant truck. If you just look, can you see that?
Yeah, yeah, it looks like a mule with a thing on the back.
Yeah. So I mean, wonder if we could
Easy to
contact
get it into
him.
the park. Well,
Wonder if we could,
that sounds like kind of cool idea. Get it done pretty quickly.
I mean, to me, getting it done is 90% of the battle. It's
Yeah.
hard
Well,
getting the funding.
but we would also have to research how much use of that truck would cost.
Yeah, exactly. And
It-
the 2,500 would be for the materials.
Well, and so there are two issues here. One is that's for naturalizing, for just sticking them in the lawn. The other would be to create a bulb garden where they get to bloom
Right.
and die back on their own. Because as
Yeah.
soon as you put them in a lawn, it's going to get mowed.
Well, this thing comes back every year. These bulbs come back every year. They leave that stripe.
Yeah, just
But that's because it's like in the right of way and they leave the strip. But once we have a park, it's going to get mowed. It just does. You know, I think we have to recognize that if you're going to naturalize bulbs, it's going to be in an area that we're probably going to mow on a regular basis once the
maybe we
growing
need to
starts.
put some rocks around it.
Well, that's why I was saying you can dedicate an
DPW
area.
people should be able to remember where.
That was 50,000 bulbs for 1,500.
Wow.
So this,
Okay.
if we got 5,000 bulbs, figure we would get a third of that.
Yeah.
If we had $5,000. Although the grant, because you have to match.
5,000 bulbs is a lot of bulbs.
Yeah, that's a lot of bulbs.
It is a lot of bulbs.
They did this in 2 hours.
Well, when you've got a machine to do it, you can do it. I have planted hundreds of bulbs myself, and it's work.
That's why I want to do the bulb machine.
Well,
Don't make me
All
laugh.
right, I don't mind contacting him or trying to find him and seeing if that's a possibility.
Yeah, yeah.
That
If he
sounds
would
good.
rent himself out to our community, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But we'd want to scare up some volunteers. Meanwhile, I think we need to just think about the money. How much does that cost? The maximum for the grant is 2,500.
yeah, I was looking at last year's budget for contractual
Beautification.
related to playgrounds and recreation, contractual, but that was with
Cuba Landscape.
Cayuga Landscape.
Yeah, because they maintain some of the public area gardens, like up at Pyramid Drive and the bank. Unless the
Yes.
bank trust company is taking over working that garden, but yeah, and around the village office, right? They also
Yes,
work on.
yeah, they do all of that right now. We did it for a couple of years. We had some volunteers from I forget the youth group in the village.
Oh, it's probably
Anyway,
oh, yeah.
it's a local group of youth, but it was hard to get them to come back consistently. And
Yeah.
it was only for one afternoon, and sometimes the work would require more time than that. So what we could do is we could apply for, we could just say a rough idea of the budget. We could say $1,000.
Why wouldn't we apply for the whole thing?
The budget, yeah, for the budget request.
Well, so do you want to do other stuff? My question is, do you want to do stuff besides bulbs? I just stuck that in there because
No,
I've been
well,
thinking
that's-
about it for a long time.
I thought for several years, and we've discussed it in the Greenway committee several times, to do some landscaping inside the parks to add beauty. Not
Yeah.
just bulbs, but also shrubs and so forth. I
Right.
know that Marion Hartill really doesn't need shrubs because it's pretty much surrounded by forever wild spaces, but some of the others might. We could request we could request some extra money for getting shrubs in that.
Yeah.
hippie-
Sure, some flowering
Uh,
shrubs would be nice.
I don't know about Shannon Park. How's Shannon Park doing?
Well,
Caroline?
Shannon Park used to have bulbs and they were all mowed away and there are none left. So that would be nice. No, Shannon Park could use a little. Shannon Park got like cleaned up, but it got cleaned up too much.
That's what I
Right.
thought too.
Well,
So-
it
And
went
That's
too,
the problem with mowing.
it was
your bulb.
unmaintained for so long that it got
It looks
scruffy.
better. No, the cleanup was necessary, but then now there are no bulbs left. So yes, the
Well, let's
bulb,
put some in. Let's
the
get some in.
bulbs and some
Shannon Park.
nice and some colorful shrubs would go a long way there because right now there's nothing.
Yeah, they took when they took the trees out where the sign is, they took everything. They could have
Yep, they did.
left some brush.
Yeah.
It's a thing. You're putting in shrubs. We just ripped out stuff that was already there. That's
Honey, whatever you put for the rough budget for the project, it has to be double the grant amount requested. So if you're, I mean, first of all, why wouldn't we just request 2,500? So the rough budget for the project should be 5,000, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. We put
Why
up
don't we just
half-
ask for the whole thing? They don't have to give it to us. And then we're just going to say beautification of these 3 parks, including bulb plantings, flowering shrubs, native plantings.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds fine. And those are
And
public areas that get a lot of traffic.
How match requirements will be met. It'll be met through volunteer labor, contractual landscaping labor, and
DPW maybe?
no, you can't use
No.
DPW.
Oh,
That's-
you can't. But
says
what
that.
about if we hire the guy with the bulb machine? If that were
And possibly a bulb planter.
Mhm.
So a possible
the contractual
bulb
labor.
planter.
That would be under contractual
Yeah.
labor. So we'll just say volunteers and contractual labor.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, why don't you put like including potential bulb machine because I think they might like that.
Okay.
Or parentheses, wall material.
Yeah.
Look, if is this due at the end of this month?
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. I wonder if we can find out from Bill Miller. If
It's actually
could-
potentially including because the bulb machine actually is a machine.
Okay, potential.
I'm just Leslie and I always editing a paper.
yeah, potentially
Oh,
including
man.
the bulb planting machine
Yeah.
from Cornell.
Is it a Cornell machine?
Well, I think
He's
Bill
a Cornell
Miller,
professor.
the Cornell prof. He's probably in landscape architecture or horticulture.
It says
What's his department?
well, he's in perennial and plant identification, so I guess horticulture.
Yeah, he'd be horticulture probably. Well, that's really cool.
Within existing parks for location.
To
Yeah.
beautify, because it's about beautification. So let's use beautification.
Okay.
Let's mention that.
Good.
In existing village parks. Do we want to name the parks?
That's what I was thinking.
So Marion Hartel, Ned Hickey, and Shannon Park Park. Shannon Park Park.
This guy's email address is right here. Just email him. Actually,
Oh,
it's funny
great.
too.
I think it'd be a great demo. You know, we could do it in the village and have people come and watch.
I'd like to see that actually. Kind of fun.
Maintenance plan.
Can you write existing high visibility village parks? High visibility of existing parks?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we don't have too many parks that aren't high visibility, do we?
But, we're just trying to cater to the description of the grant.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's what they say, right?
Let's see, beautification.
Maintenance.
You're going to naturalize them, right? So
Well, 2 ways. You can naturalize and you can plant in a deliberate planting area that is going to be.
well, if you naturalize it,
Why don't we say it like that, exactly like that? Plantings will be done deliberately to include naturalization and low maintenance. We'll be
And-
designing for low maintenance.
Yeah.
naturalization will be done, let's say, will be designed to naturalize and therefore decrease maintenance needs. Nonetheless, maintenance will be provided by
Volunteers. I don't think DPW would appreciate having to go take care of bulbs, but we could have a few volunteers to check them.
All I have to do if naturalization, they can just let the area go wild.
it is, but then nonetheless, plantings will be monitored for maintenance as needed by the Greenway Committee.
Yeah. And I think we could specify bulb planting for daffodils that deer don't eat them.
Yeah, we have daffodil there, so.
Oh, we do, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that deer won't eat.
Yeah,
If
basically.
you put in tulips, forget it.
Actually, we don't even say that we're really what we're doing, beautification projects, but we don't actually say what they are. Beautification, yeah, we forgot to say that we're going to be that the
Planting bulbs. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
that it's going to be planting bulbs, flowering shrubs, and native species. Naturalizing bulbs or bulbs that naturalize, I guess, naturalizing bulbs, flowering shrubs, and native species. Or maybe you say low maintenance flowering shrubs.
Poisonous. It's rough.
And
Yeah,
native
right.
species.
And native species.
Yeah.
Is it naturalized bulbs or naturalizing?
Naturalizing.
Naturalizing bulbs.
Such
The
as
bulbs aren't
daffodils.
naturalized.
Such as
The
daffodils.
bulbs are furring.
Do crocuses also naturalized, such as daffodils and crocuses?
Crocus is naturalized. I don't know how deer plants they are, but they put all those crocus in.
I never get mine. I've tried to naturalize them in my lawn many times. I've never gotten it. I love those lawns that are covered in crocuses.
Yeah.
I've
What
never.
what are the little blue ones that come up?
Crocuses. Yeah.
Oh, they're little tiny blue.
Oh, those are Scylla.
Yeah.
The problem with crocus is that they are not planted deep, and squirrels and chipmunks love to dig them up.
Mm.
But some houses, a couple properties in town are totally naturalized.
Yeah. But they're in town. I'm out in the woods and I can't I've planted bulbs many, many, many times, and I find them out in the woods coming up because the squirrel dug it up out of one garden and took it out in the woods and buried it for future use and forgot it was there. So I've got bulbs coming up out in my woods, and I've never planted, but they're gone from my gardens. They're not very helpful. So that's a problem with the shallow planted bulbs. The deep planted bulbs, 5 to 6 inches, will be daffodils, and nobody digs them up.
Okay, I was reading up here that the grant is a 1-to-1 matching grant, so we can change the 5,000 to 2,500.
Yeah, because we'll be matching.
Budget for the project should be twice the grant amount requested.
No, not if it's 1-to-1. Not if it's a 1-to-1. Right here it says 1-to-1 matching grant. So for every dollar we spend, they'll match.
Right. So the budget for the project should be $5,000.
Total budget. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. Right.
Yeah, I mean, if we say it's
Including
5,000, we're asking for half of it. It's clear that the other half is coming out of our pocket.
Yeah.
Doesn't
That makes sense. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if we plant shrubs, they're going to have to be watered the first year, and that's something we're going to have. That's part of the maintenance plan. If we put in any kind of shrubs, native or otherwise, they're going to need watering, especially in our summers. This summer is supposed to be, on average, 5 degrees hotter throughout the summer than past years.
Let's write that in so that we're aware. So watering needs will be monitored in particular in the first year. Will be monitored closely.
Let me see something. I want to make sure. Funding should not be used for staffing, wages, or salaries.
So that's the DPW. We can't use it for DPW, right?
Can't use it for salary.
Well, but they're not paying for the watering. They're only paying for the planting.
Yeah, the maintenance is up to us.
And we could do the, I'm just going to say, and village staff.
You know, if we put in, we're not talking about planting any trees. We could put in those tree gators with trees, but I don't think you can do that with a shrub.
No, I don't think, not most of them anyway. There are
Yeah.
a few maybe, but
But that might be something that our DPW guys would be better suited to do because they've got the trucks and can carry water tanks. Whereas I can't imagine trying to get water to a shrub on my own with a watering can unless there's access to water in one of the parks. And I don't know if there is.
right.
Should we sell it a
We
little bit
have-
more in terms of like the project description? I mean, should it be more like the village has created a series of parks over the last several years? They have the infrastructure, they have the trees and the surrounding area, but they don't necessarily have the color and the pop that they need to really bring the
Yeah.
parks to life in the warmer months.
Yeah.
This beautification project really will enhance our community.
Yeah.
Just
we can just-
sell it more.
yeah, I just say that the parks have been needing beautification since their creation.
Yeah, they've been
They have
created. We have the infrastructure, but we don't have that last piece, which is the color and the joy that this project would bring.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how hard these are to get and how much, you really have to put your best foot forward.
I don't know the history of who gets the grants and who doesn't, but I can't believe they'd turn us down.
Well,
Yeah. They're competitive.
if they only have 4 and they like something else better, I don't know.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, good job voting the Republican.
Yeah. That looks fine. Native species is kind of a catch-all. That doesn't, are we looking at annuals or perennials?
Native perennial species.
They're
And
gonna
native
have,
perennials.
yeah, have to be deer resistant.
Native deer resistant perennials.
Yeah. Which, and we can get those not from Cuba Landscape, but you can get them from the Plantsman.
Yep.
Up in Lansing.
Yep.
And again, you know, finding deer resistant plantings, there aren't that many that deer won't eat. It's pretty tough. You can do big prairie grasses, which are ornamental and beautiful, but they tend not to get eaten. Things like big blue stem. But you don't want to mow them. You want to let them continue to grow because they'll top out at 6 to 8 feet. They're beautiful.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll have to think about and maybe get some suggestions from Dan Siegel or whoever's working at Cuba Landscape about what would work in our parks, be pretty, low maintenance, and deer resistant. Good luck.
Well, yeah, and resistant. I mean, that's
They can't say deer proof. They don't
broad
dare.
spectrum.
Yeah, because deer will taste everything.
Yeah, they'll try anything when they're hungry.
Yeah, they'll try anything, and if they like it, you're
Share it.
doomed. They'll
Yeah.
share it with their families.
Plantings. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this will be a good stab. So I will save this then,
Okay.
and one thing I do not like about Zoom Share is its toolbar goes right over your menus.
Yeah.
Okay. See, saved it. You won't save it.
Just FYI, you guys know, I think, that I'm on the Trails Committee for the town now.
Yes.
And I told them about this grant because one of the things that they've been talking about doing is trying to create a cohesive feeling to their little, or our little town center. Which doesn't have like so much of a town feeling yet. And that's one of their main goals with the trail. But also one of the things they talked about several times at those committee meetings, and then I said, hey, why don't you apply for the beautification grant for this, is doing flags on their light poles. So that would be like a totally different thing or way to go, but it's also something that we should kind of just think about for the village. Creating, I don't know if we want to have flags, but I really just, I love going through Dryden at Christmas because they've got all those poles and they have the lights on them, and you get that like little cute downtown feeling.
Right.
And the town of Lansing doesn't have that, so that's something that we were talking about. And then they were talking about using this grant to apply for flags. And I don't know, does the village, do we ever want to do a flag along Trip Hammer Road and declare it the village as a beautification?
Yeah, we could definitely discuss that.
I think we should discuss it because I think, first of all, we've got dead trees on Trip Hammer that have been dead for years and still haven't been taken out. And I think we should think seriously about how Trip Hammer looks right now before we start adding stuff. We need to replace those trees, and it just hasn't happened.
Well, you know, should we do this right now with this grant then, Lynn? Because that would be right along the main thoroughfare.
Those are really expensive. Those are so expensive. 2 trees would gobble up the entire budget. Yeah.
Fine. How else are we going to get them replaced?
Well, we need to do it.
We can budget it. We can budget it within our budget process this year.
When we redid North Trip, and it's just part of ongoing expenses for the village to take care of what they already have.
Okay.
So we should use the grant to plant trees that we should have replaced 5 years ago. It's expensive though, and then to get a 2-inch caliper tree or more to replace what's going to get taken out, those just cost a lot, and they have to be put in professionally.
I wonder if this grant isn't perfect for that.
It would just gobble it up, you know. It wouldn't replace very many of the trees, and
probably 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
I like the idea of fixing up the parks, and that could be just a really fun volunteer project, whereas planting the trees on Trip Hammer isn't going to get anybody interested.
No. We'd have to pay Cape Landscape to do it. That would be, the village would pay for the labor and the grant would pay for the purchase.
Yeah, we could discuss that as part of our budget cycle, Carolyn.
Yeah, well,
that would be one of our Greenway items that we want to put in.
Let's remember that.
Yeah, that we need to remember that. Lynn, oh God, it seemed like I've asked you this before. Can you identify the trees on Trip Hammer at some point within the next month or so?
Sure.
We will be in the middle of our budget cycle starting. Well, actually, it's already started. We haven't done much, but
this is
that way we
for budget 101, isn't it?
Yeah, and we can say we need to replace these 5 trees, and we're going to replace them, and we'll need to get some advice from whomever we contract to about which trees can be put in and which ones would not be decimated by plowing and road salt and brine and
the
whatever.
ones that were originally planted were a relative of the Bradford pear, the Callery pears. Well, it turns out that they're wildly invasive. And if you want to see where Callery pears have taken off, it's on the north side of the Trip Hammer Bridge, in that sort of green no man's land between the old Pizza Hut and the entrance to Cuba Mall, they've gone feral in there, and there's almost an entire forest now of pear trees that have taken off in there because nobody's maintaining that section, and they go wild. The ones that have died are Callery pears, and when they were first planted, they didn't get the right kind of soil mix. They were supposed to have some kind of structural soil with the first planting, and apparently they either didn't get it or the site prep wasn't sufficient to keep them alive, and they died pretty quickly. So yeah, I mean, either we replace them with more Callery pears, which are a nightmare for a lot of municipalities now. Now we realize how invasive they are. But there are other trees out there.
The thing I was thinking about is the columnar oaks that they put in that they replaced on Beckett Way when we had to redo that median.
I hate those trees so much. The other ones were so much more beautiful.
Yeah. The problem is the beautiful trees might not survive in the right of way because of the snow plowing and the brine and so forth.
These are just they're just not nice. They're not decorative at all. Yeah,
they stay as a column rather than having branches, so they don't really look like a tree.
They look terrible, and the other ones were gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get some
advice.
I mean, I've said my piece about Callery pears. I think we shouldn't repeat the mistake and plant any more of them. But there are lots of other trees that would work as a good street tree.
Well,
there's marine locust. You know, there's another tree that was planted there that's some kind of a little elm that seems to have held on pretty well. But I will absolutely, tomorrow, I will go out and ID all the trees and tell you where they are.
Yeah, if you would take a photo of the tree and say this location and this, and if you know what it is, if it's one of the Callery pears, then
they're mostly the Callery pears that have died.
And that way, Carolyn and I can put that in the budget and discuss with John. John would kind of probably be able to give us an idea of the cost per tree, or we could probably get in touch with Cuba Landscape.
I think Cuba Landscape would tell you that we really have to be sure that there's a good site prep for these trees because the first time around didn't work.
Right.
And it's a pretty hostile environment.
Very hostile. Yeah.
For a tree. Okay.
We have to be kind of careful, and also we have to be kind of careful with branch trees in those locations because they're going to be next to a heavily trafficked road with large trucks, and they'll just you don't want things that are going to. They'll just hit the limbs and tear them off.
Yeah.
Or
they have to be fairly compact and not spread out to the road.
Right.
Again.
So, but we'll get some advice, and Carol and I will remember. And I think when we start that, once that project is approved and it's started, we might get you to work with DPW and Cuba Landscape to pick a good tree.
Yep, I'm happy to do that, but I don't want to be the only one deciding. And then I sort of said I didn't think we should add any stuff to Trip Hammer, but you might want stuff on the light poles. I don't want to be the
No, it's okay. I mean, it's not like my. I'm like, we need light pole, or I'm just throwing it out there. Something to be there.
It's something. You know, and another, when you were saying that, Carol, I was thinking, well, that's kind of an interesting idea along Trip Hammer. And you know, the thing that I like about
identifies as a municipality in a way.
Right. Exactly. And the thing that I like, when I drive up the east side of Cuba Lake, I like when you're leaving Aurora that they say you are now leaving Aurora. You know, and it wasn't a dream, or it was a dream, or something like that.
Oh, really?
We could assign that says
something with a joke. Yeah.
So we could think of something like that too. But yeah, it's a possibility as long as it doesn't add a lot of maintenance issues for the DPW guys when they're replacing lights. With the LEDs, that's not such a big deal now. But
just in the future, we think about creating more of a cute vibe along Trip Hammer.
Yeah.
I agree, because if there's not much there, you know, you're busy looking at where you can turn in to get a hamburger or a car wash or whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
to sidewalks?
Yeah, let's go to the sidewalks and let me stop
Ronnie, I
my
can
share.
stay on for about 15 more minutes and then I'll have to duck out because I
Okay.
have to leave at 6:30.
Okay. I will let you share your screen, Carolyn, and you can bring up your document. We can talk about it.
Oh, why don't you just bring it up, Ronnie? I shared it, the Google Doc. It's
You
pretty
did.
much the same as yours. I just had a slightly different vision, and then some of those things I thought if we get into them that we'll never get out. So we had talked about having some kind of snow removal when we did the sidewalk law, which is, as you guys know, the sidewalk law just simply says you need to build a sidewalk when you get a special permit unless you get permission not to. And I had thought about putting something in about snow removal. And, you know, in cities all across America, they say snow removal is the owner's responsibility. And right now in the village takes on that role.
Mhm.
Just bringing up the concept of snow removal would set back any kind of sidewalk resolution or trails resolution that we want to have by a year in terms of the discussions. Just seeing how long the solar law is taking to pass when it's literally been done for a year and they just nitpicking every word. If we start talking about snow removal, we will never have a policy.
Well, no, that was just something that came up as
Okay.
as a draft, and that's fine. We don't have to deal with that. It was just a place to start. It's a discussion. So this is
Oh, I've got a
fine.
typo there. You can fix my typo if you want.
Let's see if it will let me. Yeah, okay.
Commercial course areas? Commercial core.
Oh,
C-O-R-E.
okay, I see.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, so what I want to do is sort of have a policy which is very similar to the 2000 resolution action plan because it had the map and it had the list. What that plan did not have, which I would like our plan to have, is the timeline. So I want to take that plan and create a plan that's very similar, where it says what we've already budgeted for and when it's going to be done, what we're budgeting for next. I really want, Ronnie, you put something in there about having this as a part of the budgetary cycle each year. I thought that was terrific.
Mm-hmm.
So just more like passing a law or a resolution that says this is happening, it's happening every year, it's happening according to this schedule.
Right.
And so that's why I thought, Larry, what you put together was great. And I'd really like to kind of nail down what our future trails are, what we want to do immediately, what should wait till after drive, and think about really building a sidewalk along Key Heights Road.
When you say Cuba Heights, you're speaking of from 13 to East Shore, basically.
Yeah, I think people jog there every single day.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, but they thought about it when they did the sewer line, so there should be.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Did they consider leveling that while they were making?
Yeah, they left the possibility open of there being a sidewalk there.
So it would be on the east side of Cuba. People would be on one side the whole distance.
Yeah, you have to have only on one side, I think.
You have to cross a couple of streams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
It's tricky.
it's very tricky.
Yeah,
It's narrow.
I added a line in our light blue wished for walkways along that route the other day. So it's on our map now.
Yeah. So when I go to the village website and I go to the maps, what is the color coding?
That's the color coding was built up while I was trying to figure out how the thing works, and so it's consistent in that private sidewalks are orange.
Okay,
and
hold on.
Our
Let me write it
sidewalks
down.
are green.
Private sidewalks
Are orange.
are orange.
And
Village sidewalks are green.
green. That's right. And then pathways are various pathways. The wished for ones, like in John Dennis's territory or along the end of my street, are in light blue.
Wish for means it doesn't exist.
Yeah, not,
Future
thinking me.
trails.
Yeah, that would be
Wish
future
for is
trails.
light blue.
And
Okay.
then I've got about 4 or 5 places on the map that are red, and those are dangerous places, like the fire hydrant up in Bomax, and the fire hydrant right here on Oakcrest. The new sidewalk comes down along Lansing Meadows and just ends right in a fire plug and a
Bonnie,
sewer.
can you bring up can you bring up the village map?
Yeah, I can't see what you're talking about.
Yeah, let's see, I guess I should have had it up. Can you bring it up, Ron? Not that guy. He's not running for mayor, I hope.
I don't know why that came up. Oh, yeah, I do. The new tab, it defaulted. This Zoom bar is okay. So I just basically Lansing.
The map is terrific. I just wasn't 100% sure what everything meant. That's the outline.
Yeah.
So, sidewalks.
Wow. That's great.
Purple ones are pathways, walkways,
Mm-hmm.
and green are paved sidewalks.
I don't see red.
Okay, you have to go down, Ronnie, you'll have to go over on the left side and go down the list of, can you,
Hang on a second. Let me find it
it's right at the
first.
bottom, I think.
Okay, it's a new one.
I don't see it on there. How come? Sidewalks.
Informal pathways and
Yeah,
shortcuts. Is that
okay,
it?
try that. But I have another thing that says dangerous ones. So these are pathways that
Mm.
where did it go?
I double clicked.
There it is.
Actually.
So you can see like where it says target. See that there's the walkway from the firehouse to the back of the mall.
I don't see the red.
This is not up to date for some reason, Ronnie, because the sidewalk, the Oakcrest sidewalk is now is now a real sidewalk. It's not wished for. So I changed that the other day.
You changed this map.
Yeah.
Let me try.
So this map, well, I'll have to go on the village and make sure I got it changed. But that now is a regular color, and I don't see on this. Where's your? Should I just try to go in? I have to get on.
And maybe you log out and let Larry log in and share his screen.
I'll have to go on to Google. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I can stop sharing.
I don't even know how to do it. Here we go.
What I want to do
It'll take
is
me a minute.
identify the most dangerous, least difficult to build.
Low hanging fruit. In
Start.
other words.
Yeah.
Start
There's
there.
a couple of those.
The ones that there would be the most demand for too, like high traffic areas that,
There's the most demand is for Key Heights Road, but it's such a
yeah,
difficult and big project.
really tough.
Hopefully we can get some little ones done first.
Okay. Now, how do I share my screen?
Just use the button at the bottom of the Zoom window. It's green, share
Okay, hold
screen,
on.
and you can pick your whole screen or you can pick a particular application.
Okay. Share screen. Oh, where is it? This one. I see. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Mm.
if we have here on the side, I'll take the village parks off, and village boundaries, we'll leave those on.
Yeah.
Problem points and dangerous points.
Yeah, put those back. You took it off, put them back.
There we go. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where did it go? There it is.
It's there.
There's a fire hydrant where the walkway comes right to a fire hydrant.
Oh, that's nuts.
Post a fire hydrant in the sewer and ends. And they
Ah.
scoop this and pile of snow right up there. So I'm
Ride a
expecting to
bike
find
in.
a pile of blind people there someday.
Oh,
And then you come down here and the road turns.
and there's no
There's
continuation
no
up to the
connection.
end. Yeah.
Okay, there's no way to cross the street. Other ones, where are they here? On Trip Hammer Mall, why is it not getting refreshing very fast, is it?
Kind of refreshing. You're just too close in. You have to zoom out
There
a
we
little.
go. There we go. There are three, see these? The three cheater pathways here.
Right.
They're
They
really
shouldn't
steep.
be there.
Yep,
Yeah,
really
I don't
steep.
know if we could put a sidewalk there because they would
No.
not
Yeah,
be
I don't
Yeah.
ADA
know.
compliant.
Other dangerous places, all the bus stops, two or three bus stops here along these apartments, and there's no place for those people to walk.
That's one of my pet peeves. I wanted to change that, and I got outvoted.
And here, this uptown corner between Global Village and Denker Park is just exactly like this. It just the path disappears. If we might put an entrance back here and
That's a good idea.
run the sidewalk through and connect here,
That's a good idea.
rather than you can't turn this corner. Everybody's trying to turn corners with buses and everything. Just driving a car around this corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tricky enough. But if you come into the village park or Global Village from the back and then go through the park, I mean, come out
But
here.
we don't own that, right, Ronnie?
That's ours.
Yes.
We do or do not?
Yes, we
That's
do.
We do.
I'll show you. Here we go.
Yeah, we own the park.
Oh, we do.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about that.
Oh yeah, we replaced all of the equipment and
Okay. All
no,
right.
it's ours.
That's our
Okay.
park. Where is our? Well, hold on a minute. I'll show you the parks. Here we go. There, the light green are our parks.
Mhm.
See this?
Okay.
Here's our. This is our future possible park. We own this land. I'd like to see a path go through Hardtail Park up to the dog park from East Point, which is East Point isn't here, but that's an old picture. Look how old that is.
Yeah.
Where is there a dog park?
Right here. It's East Point has a dog park right along
Really?
Yep.
Right there. Yeah.
and there's already a mucky cheater path between Northwood and that's this path here.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody should do something with. And I walked this path across here, which would be kind of interesting because if you're walking from Lansing Trails to Hardtail Park, you have to go all the way back and come out.
Mm.
This lake is very interesting. There's fish in this lake. I saw kids catching bass out of that lake.
Somebody stocked it. That's weird.
That would be a nice feature to have.
Because that's basically a retention pond.
Yes.
That was put in.
Yeah. So the dangerous places here, this is that fire hydrant I'm missing. Wow, this is really, the other day I had all this was showing. The buildings were showing. I don't understand that, why you get outdated imagery.
It
Some days-
depends on how close you are too. Sometimes if you back up, it'll put in a different picture, but
Yeah,
not
but
right
I
now.
haven't seen it
Don't worry
today.
about it.
Mm.
Yeah, this one is so old. I bet my house doesn't have solar panels. I'll bet. No solar panels.
Yeah.
This is from 2007.
Wow.
Now here,
That's old.
not quite. Here we have half the. We've updated. Okay, let's go look now. East Point is there, I'll bet. Nope, not yet.
Mm-mm.
No. Anyway, that's where the fire hydrant is. Where the paved sidewalk, the asphalt sidewalk comes up here, and the other one comes here. And I don't know why we're not seeing them. Let's put them on.
I think it's a matter of ownership of that little strip.
Yeah, we were talking about that. The fire plug is there, and somebody should do something about it though, because it's crazy that here's our village. The sidewalk here, the green sidewalk, and here's their orange private sidewalk, casual paths. So the dangerous places that I see are, this is the other place around here.
Well, hopefully that is going to be fixed with the sidewalk.
Yeah, is that next year, Ronnie, the Dart Drive?
I say it again. I didn't hear
Is
all
that
that.
the Dart Drive? Is that going to go in next year?
It's gonna go in the spring.
And that's on the north side or south side or both? Just
It's on the
one?
north side.
How come I can't pick my? Something strange because I don't think I signed in. Oh, hold on a minute. I see a problem. Okay, we should see all of it now. There we go. There's East Point.
Yep.
Okay. Here's their pathway. You can see it coming from the end of the road. See it?
Yep.
And here's their dog park.
Mhm.
And it goes to a bench and little seating area there. Now that I have control of this, I can actually make this shorter down, make it actually connect. So this path, this one, I thought, Ron, if we just run a bush hog through there, just to open it up so you're not having your clothes ripped off you by buckthorn and stuff, people would start to use that, I'll bet.
They might. Yeah, we'll see. But in the spring when John and his guys get out their equipment, see if they can take care of that. I don't know if they got a brush hog scheduled for any projects, but we'll have to find out.
I don't know why there are two lines here.
Because you didn't know which side of the street to put it on. Leave that one. No, don't leave. Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
This is the
yeah.
north side, so yeah.
So,
And-
and then there's quite a bit of confusion down here. Here's the sidewalk. See that here? I should put their orange. That's their new sidewalk.
Yeah.
What is that, McGuire?
mhm.
Yes.
Uiari.
Yeah.
Got it.
Done.
Ronnie, I'm going to have to duck out.
Okay.
This is so interesting. I wish I could stay, but I've got to charge up my iPad because I need it for singing.
Okay.
I
That's
thank
fine.
you.
Anyways,
Thank
you
you.
can see that we have a lot of power with this, and it's easy to see where you need sidewalks. This one, I don't know. This seems to be really confused along here, and whether people should be they have to wait for a bus. Here they have to wait for a bus on the other side of the street. There's no
Yes.
safe way to cross the bus stop here.
Right.
So when I was upset about that and wanted there to be a bus stop structure built, the pushback from DPW came because they want the bus to take a different route. And they didn't want to allow for safety buildings to be built because they thought that the solution was not buildings, but was a different route. And so ultimately the structure did not get built.
Well, the issue is they were going to put the structure on the north side of Uptown. There's not much area there for a safe structure to be built. And people would have to cross that road to stand on that side of the road. They're
They
doing
already
it
are
now.
crossing the road and standing on the
Right,
road.
but if we allow a building to put there, we're assuming liability for anyone who gets hit crossing that road to get to that building. So that was one of the major issues.
I mean, I think it's the same liability. I'm not sure that that's right.
Well, if we're putting something on the other side, we're inviting
But that's
them
where
to
the
go
bus
across.
stop is. I mean, that's just where the bus
Yeah,
stop
but right now it's informal and they take it upon themselves to break the law. If we invite them to cross where it's not safe, then we are owning that liability. That was a major issue.
I just wanted to make it nicer for bus riders.
Yep, I know.
Okay, so I think that the two things. One is to have a discussion with John about taking care of some of these red issues, but also having a formal document that we're going to produce as a committee that lays out plans for building additional paths, additional sidewalks, additional connections.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I, in one more place that I put on as desired, it should be read, is here at Graham Road. By
Yeah.
this, I walked that to get to the PT, and it's a real pain in the butt. You got
And
these
there's no
cars
sidewalk
driving,
there?
right? There's no sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's going to be reconfigured this next year. So
Yeah.
I think there is a sidewalk planned.
I
It
think
is. It looks really neat on there. It's going to be on this side, do you know?
I don't know. we'll have to ask John. I can't remember which side they put it on. I suspect it is, but I can't say definitely.
Both sides are pretty flat and easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was debating about this one should be red because it's the orthopedic place, and there's also a pediatrics. This is a pediatrics place here, so
Also high use area,
yeah, it's how
walkers.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered that. So
Okay. Yeah.
okay, back
So
to
I
you.
mean that is coming, but then it's like a lot of these things like, oh, they're coming. And unless there's sort of some kind of force behind our motion or just like grease behind our wheel, they're kind of always coming. And at the same time, things do take time and we have to do A before B because it doesn't make sense to do B first.
Right.
But at the same time, I do want there to be a plan, a schedule, a push to
Right.
really keep going with these in an expedient way as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So
The issue is always once we get into the construction era, this construction window for the year, if emergencies come up and work, the DPW crew is taken away from a project they were going to do to deal with emergencies. And in this case, this Dart Drive was delayed. We've had it budgeted for 3 years now, and
Yeah.
nothing's happened. And it's there's always a reason for postponing it. And so that's why you saw me basically just say, we're going to get this RFP out in the spring and we're going to get this done this year. We're not going to sit back and wait to see what happens and maybe do it. We're going to do it.
Yep. That's what you have
So
to
we'll
do.
start doing that with the other sidewalks. And it will basically, we can add, what I'm also wanting to do is have a capital plan that we follow. We do this we should do similar planning, not just for sidewalks, but for all of our major projects and plan them out. When are they going to be done? And just make sidewalks a subsection into there that, where we've got each year we have a section of sidewalk plan to be done and track it. It's going to be done and it's finished, and then we go to the next one.
So you're planning, you do, what he said, I think like some percentage of the roads every year, 10%?
About 20%.
20%.
Yeah.
Case in sidewalks, I suppose it's mostly a matter of linear foot, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But once you start, like a Dart Drive, once you start down Dart Drive, you don't want to have to stop halfway through a season if you can help it.
No, you want to finish it.
Yeah.
So the other issue will be when we're considering adding all of the sidewalk space is our crew basically plows all of the sidewalks and all of the trails that are asphalted. So if we're going to be adding another 4 or 5 miles of sidewalks, can they get all of that work done, or are we going to have to contract for additional labor in the winter?
So I have a question then, Ronnie. Here, is my screen still shared, isn't it, I guess?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, this is this East Point sidewalk, is that ours on Bomax or is that theirs?
I can't remember if that's been dedicated to us or not.
Because
I just don't know.
The green, as far as I understand right now, the green stuff is basically what we would have to take care of.
Right. Anything that's been dedicated to us or that we have built.
And so I don't know about, for example, when along Northwood, that's ours.
We do maintain that one.
Yeah. So
And
as
we may,
they're dedicated, then we should come in and make sure the map reflects it.
and I
Oh, so
think,
what's, sorry, go ahead.
well, I think that T.G. Miller has an engineering map of sidewalks that show what has been dedicated and what has not. So at some point we can get a
Oh, yeah.
copy of that.
Here's another interesting thing I found was this little connector here between our Savannah Park and the big loop walkway all the way around Kendall. It's a nice walk.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
either.
yeah. There's a bridge and everything. It's a very nicely maintained stones. You can stepping stones and stuff.
Right.
Somebody's casually maintaining it, but that's a nice little feature. I have put that in there again.
No, well, don't, that, some of that is in the town. Or it's in,
Here's our
Cuyahoga
line.
Heights. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should, if we have anything, it's a draw to that line only.
The other place, another one that's well used is this loop from Arrowwood to Sapsucker.
Yeah.
Although it's really sloppy, but that one's pretty well used path.
Interesting. So what is our action items for preparing for our next meeting? What should we all do before next month?
Is there some way, Ronnie, that I can, well, I'm going to be busy with the election right now, but get people moving on these red spots?
When you say get people moving?
Is
what do
there
you
some
mean?
way to find out how we're going to deal with the fire hydrant, the 2 fire hydrant ones, for example?
We have to
Yeah,
meet with John.
We'll just take your list that you created of the danger spots and we can talk that over with John and say,
Okay.
these are, how do we want to deal with this? How soon?
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be because John, either his crew would be doing it if they can. There may be reasons that it can't be done because if we don't own it, if we don't have a right of way, we can't just build it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a definite reason that sidewalk stopped there, but on both here and at over by East Point, and I don't know why. So we should find out from John what's the reasoning behind that.
This is the lot line, and you can see that it's in the right of way.
Right.
My guess is that we should have had Eric go 5 more feet.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that that's it. There's a telephone pole, and a fire hydrant and a sewer, and it just stops.
And could be they don't want to put a sidewalk over it because if that infrastructure has to be maintained, they would just be tearing the sidewalk up.
I don't know how you have to come around this way or come around this way. Come out to the street. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, there has to be so much distance. There has to be so much distance between the street and the sidewalk for safety reasons.
One other interesting question. Do you know, is this sidewalk now private? I have an orange private. It's Lansing Meadow. Do they maintain that sidewalk on Oak Crest?
I suspect that they do until they get all of the I can't remember what the checklist on getting the project. That project is not complete yet. They still have not done all of the work.
Mm-hmm.
And once that's all done,
they might not ever be dedicating it because they can't dedicate the road.
Yeah, this is not the code, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't accept that dedication because of the way it's configured. It is not to our standards. We couldn't accept it. The sidewalk we could probably, but it has not been dedicated yet, but I suspect it will be in the future.
Well, interestingly, when the big snow came, I walked into my PT, and the sidewalk is cleared. And it's big tractor tracks, regular tractor tracks. Right. And then the blade comes up here. Mm-hmm. And then this is not cleared, and they loaded the tractor from here, came down, put the blade up, drove over here, scraped this off, put the blade up again, drove over the snow, got back on the truck and left.
That's not our guys.
I know.
We would not do that. So that's
why.
That's
you're going to drive the tractor down there anyway.
Right.
Why not scrape it?
Why not scrape it?
It didn't make a bit of sense.
Well,
unless the tracks continue, and it's the YMCA people do it.
We could spend all night. We could spend all night trying to figure out why Eric does the things he does. So. So anyway,
Okay, so one thing that maybe, Ronnie, maybe you and I can meet with John in this map and ask him his thoughts on a couple areas.
right?
That's one thing that can happen before the next meeting.
Yeah.
So the three tricky places: the park, village, global
Village.
park, the 2 fire hydrant locations.
Hmm.
Ones where our sidewalks are literally a blind person would walk right off into a hole or something. So those 3
So
places.
let's ask him about those two things. We'll ask him if he can meet with us to talk about those two things.
Right.
Okay. What else do we want to do before our next meeting?
We need to have the document, the policy document, polished a little bit. Refer to an external plan so we don't have to update that policy document every time we change the plan.
Okay.
And we can start with just an Excel spreadsheet, and once we formalize our capital plan template, we can put them in there, just transfer them into there, I believe, and just make that part of our, I would like to follow the same format for all of our planning documents related to budget schedules and completions, et cetera. So I've started a template. I asked for some feedback from Jody, but I haven't received any. So we can basically, we'll just start a list of our documents in an Excel spreadsheet, and just we could put priority. We could put a priority column on it, and then put a potential start date, actual start date, and it just make it a planning document, in other words. So we could start doing that.
There'll be an Excel with information from the map.
Yeah, an Excel from the list, made from the list the table that you sent us with the list.
I had a lot of, I wasn't able to get those converters to change anything into something that I got what is it?
CSV, yeah.
CSV file,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't make it into a table. It just
Okay.
never worked.
All right.
I got a table of a whole bunch of little numbers.
If you send me the CSV file, I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
It should go right into Excel
Yeah,
with columns and rows, but if it doesn't, then it doesn't. I'll check that out. And so we could start our planning list from there, and polish the document. And I think that that's a good start. And I guess we would put a column in our planning document also that has criticality from 1 to 5.
Yeah, priority list.
And just put the danger areas as 1, and then the others on, extremely needed, etc. We can define the criteria for each of the numbers.
All right, that sounds good.
So I think that's enough, because that's really the bones of this policy and starting to get these things done.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll send you CBS versions of the lists that we have here. These lists.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, export those to CSV and send them to me. We might have to look to see if maybe this document you're creating is obviously is not the one that's showing up on our website. So
yeah, it's not. I had to go to My Maps.
Yeah.
And I got recent with East Point and everything viewed.
And I think that there's a way that you can save this map in one of those KHM files, and then I can import it and use that as the village map.
And then they'll still have people have access to the layers and everything, but not editing.
They will have basically it replicates this map. So when you feel comfortable with it, then we will work on exporting it from your maps, and I'll put it into the maps for the village.
Yes. And what did you call the file that you wanted to? What type of file?
It doesn't matter. When we start to export, we'll worry about that then.
Okay.
It's one of the 2 files that they allow you to export to, and I can't remember which one.
KML or KMZ or something.
Yeah, yes. It's one of those two. I can't remember which one it is, but we'll do some research and
I see.
get it done.
Okay.
that way.
Larry, do you know the way the John Dennis loop comes into Wedgewood Drive? Did you just
Oh, that's a real good question. Number
place that
42.
there? Or is that actually village land?
Nope, nope, that is an empty lot. I assume it belongs to these
Oh,
people.
right,
They
okay.
have
So
a
that
the
line,
little
so
shed
that,
in there.
okay. So that, yeah, that line we should probably remove.
That's a wishful thinking line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
See,
we
there's a
would
little
have to
shed
get
there.
an easement from them
Yeah,
for a trail.
The-
And
the-
they probably wouldn't want that.
no, no.
I don't know about that. I wonder if they would. Here you can see, here's their lot line, see?
Yeah, no.
And I'm assuming that these people might not own it. I just assume they look.
No, they do, they do.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And that
But
would
I
be
was
the
gonna
only
just
way.
access that loop, just asking one of my neighbors if I can walk through their backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait a second, it looks like there's a trail, but there's not a trail. Okay,
There's not a trail here. No, that's future wished for trails. And in the territorial map, John's actually I think it's John or Mi Feng owns it, but their lot line actually own this side, and this side is owned by the people who own this little house, the rental house across from my house. They own back all of this. So the part that John can control are this side of it.
okay,
And these paths, he's got permission from them to mow these paths. And there are actually paths all the way down through here. It's really fun to walk through, actually.
okay,
But this half of it, at least, is John's willing to put an easement on, I think.
okay. All right, sounds good. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it then?
Yep, I think so.
I gotta lay down again now.
Okay,
Feel
Larry.
better,
Thanks.
Larry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
feel better.
Thanks,
And thanks for
I'll try to be
joining the
safe.
meeting.
How do I
Yeah,
stop
thanks
sharing?
for this
Okay.
map too.
Okay, thanks.
everyone.
Yeah.
Ronnie,
Talk
do you
to
want
you
to
soon.
try to
Take
schedule
care.
something with John sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I'll see with the winter maintenance, it might be hard, but I'll just say we want to talk about those 3 areas to see
Mhm.
what he thinks can and can't be done. And then we can talk about if it can be done, we can start talking about how soon could we get to it, what would be required, and should it be included in the budget. It may
Okay.
not be a big expense, but it's probably a budget line item.
Okay, well, let me know if you want to talk to him with you.
I will do that. I'll just copy you on the communications and make sure you're copied on any replies.
Sounds good. All
Okay.
right.
Thank
Take
you.
All
care.
right.
Feel better, Larry. Bye.
Yeah, Larry.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot, Larry.
Yeah,
And
talk
thanks,
later.
Carolyn. Bye-bye.